Okay. Here we are, guys. We are back, as I said. Very short break for us. And I'm here with a team member of Ayrshire Interactive, and we're gonna be talking to them about their game Equilibrium. So I'll let you introduce yourself, your team, and just briefly about your game, maybe.
So I'm Stephen Benson, and I'm the project manager for Ayrshire
Mm-hmm.
Interactive. We are four recent graduates from the University West of Scotland, and our game is a planet simulator with an environmentalist twist where you manage procedurally generated worlds, trying to keep conditions suitable for human habitation.
Okay. Let's jump into this game of yours. So maybe let's start with the inspiration. What was this game at first? What was the thought that sparked this idea before it became what we're seeing?
Well, I think at the beginning we wanted to do something with some sort of message behind it. We didn't just want to make some sort of FPS shooter or anything like that, even though we could. So when we were thinking of kind of
Hmm.
suggestions, we stumbled across, well, sort of the environment, something quite big, and of course with COP26 just around the corner. Why not do that? It would be ideal, and it will all fit into place quite perfectly.
Hmm. I see. So in terms of, so you wanted to make something that can be more than just a game, kind of, essentially, yeah. So
Mhm.
maybe a bit about the game mechanics and how you tried to express that more specifically.
Yes, so there's three main kind of parts to it. You manage the global atmospheric conditions, the global temperature, and the global happiness level of the planet you're in by placing or removing certain objects, for instance, jets. It'll be good for the atmospheric
Hmm.
conditions, but will also not be particularly happy for people for happiness because people can't go on their holidays. So it's managing it like that, or clearing up oil spills, placing wind farms and finding different renewable sources of energy, everything just to keep the planet cooler. So it's things like that that you do.
I see. Awesome. So there is quite a bit you have to manage, actually.
Hmm. Yes,
Um,
I think that was quite difficult.
did you take inspiration from any sort of like tycoon sort of games for this?
But yeah, we looked at quite a few kind of games, and there's a good couple
Hmm.
out there. But the Equilibrium's visually similar to those sort of games.
Hmm.
But we kind of felt like ours was slightly different and focused a wee bit more on the environment side, or wasn't one specific thing like energy. We tried to take a good amount of things and create quite a balanced game.
Hmm. Hmm. So we did just see on stream how there were almost like a rays of light as the player was making interactions with the planet. So what are the visual indicators of the actions you take in game? Maybe you could give some insight on that.
So, for instance, if you're everything that you do and every action that you'll have will have an indication at the bottom right. Will it be the happiness, the global temperature, or the
Hmm.
atmospheric conditions? But if you're, for instance, decided that you didn't want to try and save the planet and wanted to make it into this like tomb world and heat up the planet to 1,000 degrees centigrade, if you wanted, you can do so, and it will kind of start to go red around the edges, etc., and trees will start catching fire, and there will be kind of consequences for your actions. Or you could go the opposite way and make it into some sort of snowball kind of planet
I see.
by not doing it.
Cool. Are we gonna see any of that in the footage where it goes either extreme?
Can't quite remember if it's in the footage. It might be, but I know there's still definitely things in development with that, so
I
I'm not
see.
too sure if it was put in or not.
I see. I see. So in regards to the game, what's your favorite part about it, and what aspect of it are you most proud of that you worked on in development?
I think quite simply just like the planet as a whole, and being able to get sort of the lovely little kind of low polygon buildings and everything. Once we got that, it was a sort of game changer. And we could see it starting to come alive,
Hmm.
and then sort of the atmosphere and seeing all that kind of come together, which is quite good. But I think in total, we're quite happy with the sort of message that we're giving out as well with the game, even though it's still quite fun and pretty to play.
Awesome. Awesome. And what would you say was most challenging?
I think for the programmers that I know that the most challenging parts so far has been sort of implementing the boats and the planes.
Oh, okay.
That was actually quite a challenge. And I think there's still slight things that we're needing to tweak with that. Apart from that, like keeping the team organized and making sure we're on track, because of course there's only four of us, and trying to do all of that straight from university. Like as soon as we'd finished dissertations and everything else, it was like right development,
Mhm.
and yes, it was quite a lot of work.
I see, I see. No, definitely. Congratulations for getting it done,
Thank you.
for all your hard work. No, it definitely has been a challenge. Do you have maybe any tips for indie devs out there that you would say helped you kind of get over this working from home situation? Like maybe it's something to do with communication or how you manage the project.
Um, Definitely management. Meetings constantly.
Hmm.
Even if even if it's every couple of days. I know we didn't stop talking while it was within our own sort of Discord chat, or we were having
Hmm.
meetings. And plan it all online. Have a sort of like Google uh, drive up where you can have everything and link it. I think one of the things with using Unity that we found was useful was that we could work on it all at the same time, as long as we weren't doing the exact same sort of thing. But
Hmm.
that was sort of really helpful since we couldn't meet up in person.
Yeah, I see. Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. So in terms of development, how did the project evolve throughout Transfuser Enterprise Pathway? How did it change, and were there any of the changes actually like influenced by the feedback you got from other teams, so not QA?
Um, no, that we did kind of take on things that other teams had kind of said. I think most of the
Awesome.
things that anything that did come, we already kind of knew about and were in the process of fixing.
Hmm.
But yeah, we more or less have managed to stick to our plan throughout the whole thing.
Oh,
It's been really
perfect.
good.
Very nice. So would you say your scope was quite on point with what you wanted and what you achieved?
Yeah, so far.
Wonderful.
I know fully the game won't be out till
Hmm.
next year.
Okay.
We've got it'll be out on the 15th, and then later versions. So we'll have the puzzle mode and the sandbox mode later on next year, which we're excited to get working on.
Awesome, amazing. Looking forward to those. So, how are the modes different? What should the player expect?
So the tutorial modes will take you through each different section and show you how to deal with the happiness, how to deal with the atmospheric conditions, and how to deal with the temperature. And then in the puzzle modes, you're sort of we're wanted to create a sort of mild panic within the player.
Right.
I was playing them a wee bit earlier and was panicking myself, trying going, oh god, how did I do this? But yeah, that'll be really quite good. And then the sandbox mode will let the player have free reign to do what they like, as long as their budget consists to do so.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Um, Although it's not an RTS, it gives me an RTS vibe with the sort of how you are managing stuff. Speaking of, I do see a budget at the top. How does the player gain budget? Do they spend it? How do they lose it? What's the sort of like economy of this video game?
So you will just by kind of doing some simple actions, you will gain budget over time. And then depending on for removing different things, like if you're removing an oil spill, it costs to be able to do that. If you're having to plant more trees, if you're having to build run farms, all of that comes into it. So you're having to kind of keep an eye on it quite closely that you don't lose control of that. And then you've
Right.
also got the population to deal with as well, because if happiness is too low, or if you remove a city, then the population's going to go down, and you don't want that going to zero because then you're no longer in equilibrium.
Yeah, yeah, I see. That's kind of justifies the name right there, what you said, I
Mhm.
think. Yeah, yeah.
So the idea to get to equilibrium, you want to get all three, the happiness, the temperature, and the atmospheric conditions into the sort of white bar in the middle at the bottom right,
Hmm.
and that's when you know you're in equilibrium.
Wonderful. There you have it. A quick tutorial as well.
Mhm.
And in terms of QA, did you have a chance to have players, people who haven't played the game, to experience it and see how it is?
Well, we've now got a demo up now, so of course we're looking at any the forms if anything comes in to
Hmm.
take on any suggestions. I know we also had family members and friends whoever we can to place test it, and we did get some helpful feedback, and we were able to tweak things. but yeah, it was good to get a good mix of friends that were developers, but also people that weren't developers, so that we could have a good range of data to work with.
Wonderful, awesome, awesome. We are gonna get your socials up right after our interview. I'll make sure of that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and the visuals. Did I ask about the visuals? I'm not sure I did. But was there a scope reason for this, or did you feel like this will allow for nice clarity, and this is how we just want to do it?
Yeah, I think that would. I think I think there's a good few of us, well, at least 3 or 4 of us actually. I think actually all the team kind of quite like low poly sort of games.
Oh, I see.
And I thought that would be the nicest sort of look to go with it,
Mhm.
than something quite technical and having to worry a lot about assets and all that sort of stuff that'd be more technical. So I wanted to keep it quite simple
I see.
for the
Awesome.
player.
What is the purple stuff we are seeing? That is almost like, is it from like toxic waters or?
Yes, that's the oil spill.
Oh, that's the oil spills. I
Yeah.
see. I see. It's really cool. I think personally, I do feel like there is this the idea of seeing the planet change is really cool, and your inputs essentially kind of change how the planet responds, which is really nice. I'm gonna give a bit of a personal story time here from your streamer. I remember playing games where you kind of it was a very quick online game, but you had few decisions, few tools, and depending on the rotation at which you use them, they could you would have like you would create like civilization. It would collaborate, build some stuff, and every time you played it, you ended up with a different sort of looking planet or a sphere or a box. I think it was, and it does bring it. And this game does remind me of that how the actions you take do influence everything that's going on. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I wish saving our planet was as easy as it is in this game.
Very good.
Would be brilliant. Um, Target audience. What do you think might be the target audience? Are you expecting any unexpected target audience essentially, or do you think you have a clear idea of who is it that might want to play this game?
Ideally, we want kind of 14 to 18-year-olds to play it.
Okay.
And I think we were also sort of discussing maybe like simpler versions, possibly for younger viewers, mostly because it's the next generation that's going to be helping sort of the environment. And if we can get them to play it and get that message across to them, hopefully in the years to come, we'll be able to see the actions of younger people doing to fix the planet,
Yeah.
is
Awesome.
the idea.
Mhm.
But hopefully that'll be able to be our target audience. But anyone else that still kind of quite likes the environment or wants to save the environment, of course, would love to have playing the game.
Mm, I see. Awesome. Awesome. Well, so when do you reckon we can expect a next big update from the game?
So we will release the game on the 15th of October, and then the next big update, which will be all the puzzle modes added, which will be in January, and then the sandbox mode will be fully fleshed out and done in July, I believe.
Oh, that's amazing. So
Hmm.
you are going into it with quite confidence in terms of dates and such.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we've got it all planned out.
awesome, awesome. That's wonderful, wonderful. Perfect. That's what you want to see and hear, right? You have an idea
Yes,
when, what, and how, right? So
definitely.
good on you. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Okay.
So what's the team's ambition after you publish the game? Are you gonna be going full indie with other titles or maybe sequel? What are you thinking for now?
I think we'll probably still do games that still has messages behind it,
Hmm.
probably still environmental message behind it because it's still quite good
Yeah.
to do and it's still important to raise awareness. So we'll
Hmm.
definitely be doing that. But I think we'll be kind of sticking with sort of fun little kind of quite good, pretty indie games.
Yeah.
I think that's really what we kind of like to delve into.
Awesome. Awesome. Are we gonna see more low poly style in the future?
Oh, I'm sure we will. Definitely,
Awesome.
definitely.
Awesome.
Like that.
What do you think like throughout your journey? What was the thing like a skill, something you learned that you think would be so important to anyone else that is looking to go through this sort of experience as you?
Definitely more the business side.
Okay.
I mean, we were sort of quite confident on being able to develop a game and get that all working. I think that was one of our biggest kind of goals from joining Transfuser, and
Mhm,
we've definitely been able to do that. We've learned a lot about market research and how to be able to get in touch with publishers and how to connect with people
mhm.
and get the game noticed and market an awful lot better.
Awesome, 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 awesome. I'll put your socials in the chat after we finish. So just a reminder to people that are looking to get any links. But you can just type exclamation mark Ayrshire Interactive without space in the chat, and you'll be able to acquire those because we have re-enabled that for today's stream. I'm looking forward to playing your game. A bit of a I actually have a suggestion, like a bit of
Excellent.
a player, almost like a fantasy of what your game could be. Have you ever considered taking your game concept but onto different planets?
We have been thinking of that, and it is sort of
Nice.
in our sort of idea. We're hoping to sort of kind of. There's been sort of talks of sort of like alien races and dealing with been able once you've been able to have probably got one planet,
Yeah.
well, then you can move on and sort of start teaching other planets of how to get their environments better. So there is sort of talks with that in the
Awesome, awesome.
works.
Yeah, I think that's huge potential. I always try to see where games can go, and I think with yours personally, that's something that like would excite me. Like, okay, I fixed Earth, now I'm on to the next one, you know? Just almost like an engineer for the environment. Time to
Mhm. Oh,
uh,
definitely.
yeah, someone has to get their hands dirty with the environment and fix it, right?
Yep.
So yeah, anything else? Do you have any cool stories about your origin of your team name? Maybe how did that come to be?
Um, it seemed I think like a couple other teams we kind of were looking at name generators at the beginning,
Nah, there
and
was one
then
team. I think there was one team that did the same. Yeah.
yeah, and then which because everything in Scotland is more or less based in Dundee, we thought,
Hmm.
well, we want to try and pull that away and be able to spread it about Scotland. So we thought,
Hmm.
well, most of us all came from Ayrshire, or we all went to Ayrshire College.
Hmm.
So we decided, well, we could have that in the name somewhere. And then when we came up with Ayrshire Interactive, we went, oh well, that's an acronym for AI, so that works quite well. So that's how we came up with it.
Awesome, brilliant.
Pretty good.
With that in mind, in Equilibrium, there is not an insane amount of AI, is there?
No, luckily not.
Likely not. Maybe when we see
Probably not, but
alien
probably more,
planets, will be more of that. You
definitely.
mentioned likely not. Do you consider AI that it's like in video game development for indie? Would you see it as like quite a
I think it's
challenge?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite a lot to take on when
Hmm.
you're developing into AI, especially for a team of only four.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hopefully we do plan on expanding the team in the
Hmm.
future. So it'll probably be something that we will be diving into.
Yeah, I'm asking
Yeah.
because it's something that many teams I feel like should consider if they're looking to go into indie, etc. What sort of things scope-wise might seem small on paper, but in practice are huge projects in essence. So hence my question. Well, I really appreciated the chat. I'm gonna let you have a floor
Much.
for a minute or two. Um, or if you want to expand and talk about anything else regarding game, this is your chance to maybe um, pick up any other topic or just give shoutouts, however you feel is suitable.
Well, I think I managed to cover everything with the
Mhm.
game. It was quite a challenge to do, especially in a couple of months, and
Yeah,
even just trying to deal with balancing is immensely hard with only four people trying to work on it.
yeah.
But I definitely want to thank everyone that's been following us so far, and hopefully will continue to follow us through the rest of our journey. To have Equilibrium fully released. Of course, thanking out to everyone that's helped play test the game, and of course Ayrshire Interactive themselves, because the other three have been working immensely hard over the last couple of months to get this sorted and done. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Awesome. Me too. I'm
Thank you.
sure everyone is. Best of luck with the release. I'm really actually happy
Thank
and
you.
excited to hear that. Well, it's coming out so soon. You know,
Hmm.
I think that should be like a huge inspiration to people. That you can do it. You mentioned your team was just four people,
Hmm.
so it's amazing that four people are able to put together a game, release it, and go through with it as planned. So, yeah. Huge congratulations on that, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's been really a pleasure chatting with you. I wish you best of luck with your game's development, with the game's release as well. Can't wait until it makes it to Mars, etc. I'll be looking towards that sort of content. But yeah, thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. We are gonna go into a bit of an intermission, just gonna be around 10 minutes break, and right after I'm gonna be talking to a team member of Team Cozy Umbrella. So stay tuned, go grab some snacks, go vote for any of the teams you really enjoyed, use the hashtag ProtoPlay on socials, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.